Yeah, fair use. Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976 allowance is made for fair use for the purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair use is used permitted by copyright. Fair use is for educational purposes. I am not making any money. Yes, so this is End Times headlines. It says biometrics verifications now mandatory for transactions involving the use of Ghana card. So I like to give all praises, all honor, Kahaloyim, Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakaha Kodash, Brakata Yahweh, Brakata Yahweh Shai. Give double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well and do well. To the elder apostles, bishops in Connecticut, the bishops, the preachers, the teachers, the evangelists, and the four winds preaching in truth and in sincerity, risking your lives more now than ever, the hopeful elect, the elect, Shalom, to the Israelite foreigners who phenotype may look like another nation, but bloodline goes back to Israel through your father and have come back to the fold. Shalom to you sisters, your achwatim, who listen and learn under your husband, which is your spiritual leader, with meekness and with silence. This your brother Aram Yehowadah with the lesson. Yeah, it says according to a report from 3 News, Ghana's Interior Minister Muntuka Mohammed Munburuk has declared that biometric verification is now the only acceptable method for what? For confirming identification with Ghana, right? So what was it? Bishop Nate was speaking to his congregation, and during the time of the CV19, and he gave it like an assurance where we have to take these different shots to get to these different places in Africa. So we have to do all these different things. So guess what? It's the only method. So if you ever fly to Ghana, while you're doing your thing, you're gonna have to have biometrics, with your identification. So, you could say that that's not leading to the MOTB all you want, but this is how we know that you most likely took the bag, right? And it says it's the only method confirming identification with the Ghana card, right? It says the announcement follows the full enforcement of the National Identification Register amendment amendment regulations 2026, the LLI 2523, which must be the little law that they came up with, right? Says speaking to the media in Accra on Wednesday. Let me see if I'm saying. Accra, yeah. See, Accra on Wednesday. It says July 22nd. So that was recent, right? So this ain't that long ago that this is all put into play. It says the minister said the new rules are meant to protect the integrity of the national right identification system. So they have this national identification, and now they're going to back it up with the Ghana card, which you're going to have your biometrics. Which your biometric card is going to have to link to your bank. So if you don't have this identification, right, connected to your biometrics, which you won't be able to get a job. You won't be able to get your, basically operate your bank. You won't be able to operate your, your lifestyle, right? So we know that this is all in sync with the MOTB, which is the mark of the beast, which is the micro C-hip or the microchip, right? It says the minister ruled that it might protect the integrity of the identification system and shield citizens' personal data, right, from feud and misuse, or fraud and misuse, right? The LI 2523 was signed on March 2nd, 2026. Was it gazetted? Because gazetted is officially announced, published, listed in an official government, judicial, or newspaper report. So yeah, so they put it out there, gazetted, right? It says on March 22nd, and took effect on June 9th, after parliamentary approval, right? If I'm saying that right, a parliamentary approval. It amidst the earlier national identification register regulations of 2012. Yeah, so they've been, you know what I mean? This is all basically elite talk, right? So this is basically how the elite tell you to it's all for integrity. It's all for, this transparency. We need to be able to, connect this to your identification, which your identification connects this to the bank, and now you can't have fraud, and no one can steal your money anymore, and you can't do this, and this is all for integrity, and we need to have this thing. But really, it's so they could see everything that you do, every money going in, every money going out, wherever you go, wherever you see. It's basically a digital prison that you're about to live in. Right? And those that don't comply, you will be unalived, right? Comply or die. That's that's the elite sentiments, right? Because they have planned to have what? No mercy, right? Expect no mercy, right? Yeah, it says the regulation makes biometric verification of the Ghana card a mandatory standard for confirming a person's identification, and retire the practice of merely inspecting photocopies or scanning the card as an acceptable method of verification, the minister stated, right? Which that's gonna happen throughout the entire world, right? America is coming here soon, right? So they're making their moves as far as having this thing global. So it's not gonna take much longer to have the micro CHIP on the global stage. So we're in World War III. So the final prophecies are all being fulfilled, right? It says 4 years, banks, telecom companies, hospitals, schools, and other institutions accepted visual checks or photocopies of cards of the card. Officials now describe that approaching as describes that approach has dangerously weak. It's dangerously weak. Dangerously weak. A photocopy can be altered. A scan image can be misused without the owner's knowledge, and a visual inspection alone cannot confirm that the person presenting in the card is its rightful owner, he explained. Right. See, but the whole thing about this is that is great technology. That's pretty good if you did it for the right reason. But we know what this is all about. It's only to bring in basically slavery, digital slavery, right? No one can make money under the table. No one can be able to do these different things. You know, you will own nothing and you will be happy, right? You're trying to lock people in, and it's just going to bring in the mark of the beast. So we know that what this is, man, at the end of the day. Yeah, this is I'm just the same article. I'm just skipping all the way down to the end just to get to the point. And it says it's the end of this article. It says a 3-month transition window runs from July 27th unto November 2nd, 2026, this year. So they're only giving it that window, giving institutions time to acquire devices, train staff, and connect to the official platform, right? Because it's that Novus Ordo Seclorum, right? All these countries are going to go get involved, man. So, I mean, and it says the minister stressed that legal obligations remain in force during this period and urge here it is. This is it. So this is how you know a lot of these other camps have definitely sold out. They're trying to act like they don't know what's going on, right? Or maybe you don't. Maybe you're just ignorant, but you you better repent and get on the and get and get right, man. Right? and start teaching your congregation the right way. James Brown said, "What? Get on the good foot, right? You better get on it, right? Because you better fly right, right? When it comes to Yahweh Boss, show me how shy, man. And it's you know, and this just lets you say it, and urged banks and telecoms, insurers, right? And that's the main part. Banks. That's what I want to bring out. So just showing you that really they did all that stuff to tell you all the stuff about how it was good, and whoever used the card, they can't just manipulate the card, and they must just have the system all to, and at the end, how you read through all that different stuff. And a lot of people, when you read, you don't read the last, you'll ever read the last paragraph. You just go, oh, so just about, that's good. See, but this is the very last, so letting you know this is going to be tied to your bank. So this is definitely, hey, the MOTB, leading to the MOTB, right? It's urge banks, telecoms, insurers, hospitals, schools, and government agencies to begin compliance immediately. Hey, mandatory, and this is mandatory for the planet. And this is just a way they're gonna cause all, both small and great, rich and poor. Because hey, if this is already mandatory, this is just the way of the world right now, right? Because what they already told the people in the UK. You got to get the digital ID, or you can't work, you can't do this, and people boycotted. People didn't they didn't sign up for it. So then they later on came back and had that goddamn dirty ass Edomite dress up in all that into some royal garment and say, yes, we are finna go into the digital ID, right? Yeah, so this is Revelation chapter 13, verse 13 through 17 in the MSG version, and says, this second beast, which is referring to the second leg of the Roman Empire, which really is the fourth beast spoken of by Daniel, right? But it's the second part of the same beast. That's why it's in the second beast. It says worked magical signs, dazzling people, right? Because you have the different miracles, the technology, because one of the first technologies is to have the first brain surgery, the open heart surgery, which was actually done by a so-called black man, right? Which basically, they took over, never gave Jake credit, as always, and then you have air condition, which is made by Jake, all these different modern technologies and things that they have, as far as, these things that they have, but they didn't really give credit to Jake. I believe it was even two Jakes, because they try to give the credit to, I think, the Wright brothers, or whatever they call, for the flight. But even I believe it was some Jakes, I believe some Levites that were from Brazil that actually had the first flight, right? So you had all these modern signs, but then they took the credit for all the modern signs, you know what I mean? And even when they did do certain things, like they had the Project Paperclip, the dividing of the German scientists that allowed them to have the Sputnik and Apollo race to outer space, which Russia absolutely won. But they had to come with their lies, said that they made it to the moon, which they never have. But that was the thing that declared that they had this great technology. And then of course, they had these different was it pacemakers, and these different things. And then of course now the technology is even furthermore advanced, being the second leg, being now you could put the micro C hip into the brain and cause people to see, cause limbs to be able to, you could put artificial arms, and the brain can actually, it'll be connected to the brain, and it can actually tell the hands, the fingers, it'll be like you actually have your hand back if your arm were, you lost your arm, whatever, and and now it can respond to you. So they have these different miracles that they have as far as so-called science, you know, and that's the thing that just dazzled people. And then even not to mention their false return of the people to the land, because that was like a miracle back in the day, you know, for them, their false miracles, in 1948, supposedly the people of God returned back into the land. But then ever since then, it's been World War One, World War Two, and you're in World War Three, and basically what they're pushing, what the micro C hip, which is in Revelation, which we're reading, so those people could not be the people, but these are like your false miracles. The 50s, the happy days that you used to have. That's when everything was good, but now everything is dwindling away. There's no more happy days, right? And then you had that like I said, they had that war, and it says dazzle people by making fire come down from heaven, right? And that's, like I said, they had that war when they dropped. I think it's World War II. They did it. Dropped Fat Boy and Little Man on Hiroshima and Nagasaki, right? And it put people in fear, right? It dazzled the whole entire world. They were afraid, right? And it says, and then now they have something, even they have their direct energy weapons, right? That makes fire come down from heaven. So they got all sorts of technology that'll dazzle you. Woo, wow, like, man, they got the laser eye surgery. You know what I mean? You go in, they can put and then now you can see in the dark. They got these great miracles to make fire come down from heaven. It used the magic it was given from the first beast to dupe the dwellers, right? Which goes into what ultimately the knowledge, mostly it's the knowledge of the old world, where you deal. That's why they're called the Illuminati. They had the knowledge of the old world, which allowed them to manipulate history and give you bits and pieces of history, and where other people knew things, so they kind of had to give you some truths here and there, but overall they were trying to just basically alter history, pretty much like how they're trying to alter time right now, where they're trying to sign it in where you have a permanent daylight savings and just keep it, so then that offsets time. It offsets the way you wake up and the way you go to sleep. You know what I mean? The way you operate your day, which they know that affects your ability to make decisions, right? So these are things that they're doing because they're the wicked, right? And it says, yeah, they duped the dwellers of the earth, which means they fooled you. They told you they were they were they were English. They told you they were Spanish, which were lies, because the Spanish and England for that with Jake were so-called black people, right? You know, and then before that, there were dark colored people who ruled that land, which is the Japhetic people, right? Which they took their nationality, which they were the original Greeks and Romans. So these people have lied throughout time, right? And that's part of that knowledge of the old Roman Empire, that old beast of being the Western Roman Empire, which fell, but the Eastern Roman Empire uh, went on, which they call the Byzantine Empire, which ruled 1,000 years, which were so-called black people, so-called, what they would call Negroes, right? Today, right? Or African Americans, right? Because eventually, a lot of them they brought over here to America to serve slavery, right? And in other parts of the world as well, as well as they went to the west coast of Africa, right? And but yeah, that's just a little tidbit. But just to elaborate a little bit on that, and it says because that's basically that beast, right? Which would be the second leg of Rome, or the one with the deadly wound that was healed, which is that's what you're dealing with now. They had the knowledge before of the old to manipulate history, but now they have the would you call the technology. The technocracy is what they're pushing now, right? To rule by technology, to bring in the digital prison, right? And it says to give them that made an image of the beast that received, right, make sure it's dwellers of them that made the image of the beast that receive the deadly blow, right? Second, they received the deadly blow and did live. See, and that's talking about, that's the image that they're talking about now, which would be the technocracy, the fourth industrial, um, basically, yeah, empire, right? But really, he's going into the fifth industrial empire, right? This fifth industrial age, right? But the fourth in itself is where you're at now. But they about to, I mean, really, you're in the fifth too. You're in the fifth industrial, but that's that. The fourth industrial basically opened the door for everything you're about to see, and about everything's about to occur, and that's part of that beast, the one with the deadly blow that lived, right? Right, and that was the Western Empire fell, and now it's back. NATO, EU, and America, and it says and was able to in animate animate the image, right? And that's through AI, right? Animate, which makes it like bring it to life, to make it live, to make it like it's alive, and you have these um, life like robots and different things with so-called real skin on them, right? And even you, right, to attach the person to the system too. And the image of the beasts should both speak and then range that anyone. Yeah, so this is 1 Thessalonians chapter 5 verse 3. For when they shall say peace and safety, and this is what they're speaking about. They just say, oh yeah, it's for it's to have this transparency. It's to make sure that no one can tamper with your information. And then they said all that, and then the very last thing they made, it's connected to your bank, right? So that all this is going to go do is going to connect to your bank, and it's going to be about where you could buy and sell. And if you don't have this, you will not be able to operate within that system, that the one with the deadly wound that was healed, or the blow by the deadly blow and lived, right? Which that's what's happening. That's this new system that they're dealing with, because that's what even they were saying. They're doing away with the old system that you could just look at a copy card or scan card. They're doing away with the old system, which is going into what this new system, right? This fourth, really you could say fifth industrial complex, right? But it says yeah, they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them, right? The ones that they duped, right? The dwellers of the earth that they duped, a sudden destruction is going to come upon them as travail upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape, right? Because this is going to be the time of what? The hour of temptation. The time of Jacob's trouble is definitely at hand, and it's definitely going to ramp up. It's going to get more and more intense as the war gets more and more intense, as the angels get more and more intense, as the appearance of the angels, which they call UFOs, or they say aliens, which they are alien. Alien just means someone from not from the from a certain particular place. They're not from the same area. They're not familiar to that area, and angels are not familiar to this place of Earth, right? Because they come from the fourth dimension, right? And but even we're aliens. The Lord said that we're in this world, but not of it, right? We're not of this world right here. This is Esau's world, right? And that's the reason why yeah, we're in the world, but not of it, right? Because well, the Lord said it. You're God's, right? Because the Most High God, you're God's, right? We're meant to live forever, which the Lord is gonna give it back to us, via through Yahweh Shai coming to rule. We should be like Him. Yeah. So this is Second Ezra chapter 15 verse 13. They that till the ground shall mourn, right? And see, and they know that that's what's going on. They having this man-made famine, right? That they're doing, right? And basically it's going to affect your ability to feed yourself, which is how they plan on getting complete control over the entire world. Because if you have an inability to feed yourself, and you have to go to them, right? Now they cause you to worship the image of the beast that had the deadly wound and did live, or you know what it said on that one. It said deadly blow and lived, right? And so, and that's dealing with this fourth industrial. So that's what they want you to worship, which is basically Rome 2.0, because now it's dealing with technology at its highest form, right? And they want you to worship that. And the best way to do it is to, even dang, I wish I could find the video. I had just seen a video. I can't find it right now, but the guy was explaining that they've been basically taking seeds out of the food for years, and it's so that they could control. So in this time, they control the food, and so that you will have no choice but to come to them in the time of Jacob's trouble, in the time where they're saying peace and safety. They're saying, yeah, we could do these different things. We can make sure no one can break into your account. No one can steal your money. We're gonna have this transparency. But then at the same time, make it harder and harder for you to work. Make it harder and harder for you to be able to live, right? Because as you go on, right, there's more and more people living paycheck to paycheck than ever before in history, right? And the dollar is constantly losing its value. The dollar is definitely not a dollar anymore, right? And though it is the world reserve currency, and that's pretty much the only thing that's making it keep its buying power as of now. But eventually, with people doing this de-dollarization, which that's set up from the elite, because why would these people just start doing de-dollarization now, right? Especially when it's the world reserve currency. You wouldn't just do that. These are things all set up by the elite. That's why all these countries are having these 15-minute cities. That's why it says peace and safety, then sudden destruction, because they're causing this man-made famine. And so the ground shall mourn, for their seed shall fail through the blasting of hell, right? And that's what, and you're getting these different storms, getting crazy storms too right now. Getting these different crazy storms, earthquakes, different things that's happening, right? A big heat wave has come through Europe, come through America, right? And that's that blasting. But then you also have the man-made famine that they've been doing. They've been, how do 100 food factories burn in 1 year? With all the, what's that? What's it called? Because I'm pretty sure everybody has to go through shit, I don't know why I can't think of it. I just had it in my mind, my brain. Slack, yeah, y'all. Let me try to shit. I just had it. OSHA, Slakia, Thwada, Yahweh OSHA, right? Everybody has to go through OSHA. You have to OSHA regulate all these places, but all of a sudden they're burning up. These different food places. So it's part of a man-made thing too, right? blasting of hell, and what they fear for what? Constellation. Yeah, so basically, constellation goes into what, like basically the stars. So I put constellation meaning calamity, right? And then it says the word disaster closely tied to the meaning of a stellar, right? Meaning basically what they constellations, right? Stellar basically meaning stars. A stellar meaning a stellar calamity, literally translate from Italian and Greek roots as bad star, right? See, so because basically that's what's going to be like a bad star. So there's a bad time, an evil time, right? Being or ill starred. Ancient people believe that sudden hardships, right? So they should say peace and safety, then sudden destruction, sudden hardship, and catastrophic catastrophics catastrophe. Yeah, so this is for constellation. I had to it just went into stars when I first looked it up. So I went and I just added meaning destruction, because ultimately that's what it's basically speaking of destruction. So, and it says in the mythology or in fiction, mythology and fiction, constellation tied to destruction symbolizes endings, divine wrath, right? Which divine meaning from a god, right? And that's ultimately what the Most High is doing. It's a wrath. Ultimately, the Lord is about to judge this place, this world, but ultimately, primarily America, Babylon the Great, right? A cosmic ruin, right? And that's what it is. Like it's already set up in the stars for this place to be destroyed, so to speak, right? Which is ultimately from the Most High, Yahweh, Bahasham Yahweh Shai, most notably seen in symbols like the scarth. I don't know how to say it. Scarth. Scythe, symbolizing death. Cetus, the sea monster sent to destroy, right? And hey, what's crazy is Leviathan. Leviathan is actually a sea monster, and he's gonna be sent to destroy a kingdom, right? And that kingdom is what this Edomite kingdom, right? A Scorpius, vengeance, and ruin, right? Yeah, so I try to do it this way, see if it makes a little more sense too. Just maybe even this way. This is a constellation, meaning calamity. This is a constellation is a group of stars that form a pattern in the sky, while a calamity is a great disaster or bad event causing much suffering. It says when linked to misfortune or astrological words tie to stars, right? Which constellation. So it ties these, because that's what it basically means. Constellation basically meaning stars. So they say if you tie these words together, this word is tied to star, right? As this word is tied. Okay, so it is. It's a word that is tied. Astrological word. It is an astrological word tied to stars. So it actually links. Basically, what it's saying. It links to stars like disaster. Oh, see, a disaster. See, meaning bad star. See, and that's ultimately what that meaning, right? It's a bad star, bad times, right? It says have historically implied to a heavenly omen. Woo! And see, that's what the Lord got. It's a heavenly omen that the Lord has over America, really over the world, because this supply chain thing is going to affect the entire world. But the main anger to this is the Lord's anger. So, or a calamitous Tory, clamatory. I'm saying it right. See how you say it. Calamitous. Calamitous. Okay, calamitous. Fate written in the cosmos, right? Which ultimately coming from the Most High, right? So this is all written before the foundations of the world, right? You know. So the Lord already set this thing up for this to happen. So the world is going to have to go through this famine, right? Throughout the entire world, this calamity. This is calamity mode. It says features boss and items name tied to celestial, right? Going into, I should know that. Yeah, celestial themes, right? Dealing with the heavens, right? Celestial themes, which as the king of the constellations, right? Which would be the Most High, Yahweh, right? There was only begotten Son. It will be the king, which would be the king of the constellations, king of the stars. He king of everything, right? King of the constellations. I don't know. Definitely. Representing powerful, stellar in titles. In titles. Should you say it that way? Powerful entities. Oh, Slakia. Entities, Slakia. Yeah. Entities. Right. Oh yeah. Will be the angels. Right. Yeah. Yeah. Representing powerful stellar entities, right? Which would be the angels. So basically, yeah, the Most High is, hey, he's running this thing, man. You know, Salakia for that. Yeah, so basically, yeah, saying it's like a heavenly omen from the God or the King of constellations, right? Showing he's a powerful, basically showing that he's a powerful entity, right? Him and the angels, you know, Yahweh Shai and the angels. So this is like a basically this thing is it's basically set in the future, right? Within the start, everything's going to align. Basically, everything's going to align, so to speak, to bring in this disaster, the calamity, things. It says, and woe, right, to the world and them that dwell therein. See, it's going to bring, it's woe, meaning what? Judgment, right? So the Lord is coming to judge the world, right? For the sword and their destruction draweth nigh. Yeah, the sword and their destruction draweth nigh, which ultimately the ultimate sword is the ICBM missiles. But before that, you're gonna have what? These race wars. You're gonna have basically food wars or lack of thereof. Lack of thereof. You're not gonna have the food, so people are gonna be fighting over what food there is, what abilities to eat and things like that there is. And then, of course, you have the people that's going to give themselves over into the one that has the deadly wound that was healed to this fourth industrial complex, right? Which is also the fifth industrial complex, right? So it says, what it says, draw nigh, and one people, right, going into, yeah, they're going to be fighting. One people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands. So, like I said, the lack of thereof. When you have the blasting of hell, you know, towards the food for the ground. There's no food. There's a thing. They're telling you that the what do you call it? The supply chain is jammed up because we have this war in Iran, and we got the Houthis and the what is it called? The Houthis and God dang it, you have the Houthis and damn, can't even think of it. But I know because even the Ethiopians are getting involved with it, because that goes into Ezekiel 38, because even the Ethiopians are going to help Gog of Magog, which is Russia, right? Yeah, so this is, I just typed in the Google fourth industrial complex.
The fourth industrial revolution, also known as Industry 4.0, represents a significant change. It involves using artificial intelligence, robotics, and the internet, blending the digital, physical, and biological realms.
See, and that's where you're headed. That's where you're at. So if you don't know that the micro C-HIP, if you don't know that digital ID is leading into the mark of the beast, which is the microchip, then you don't know what's going on. You have no business holding the Bible in your hand, ever, you know? If you don't know that, right? Yeah, see, and they're even telling you that it says artificial intelligence or AI smart computers that learn how to make choices, right? And they're gonna make choices for you. They're gonna judge you, right? It's gonna be all in different judgments, for whether you get ticket, whether you get points taken off, whether you violate it. This thing is all gonna come from AI. You know what I mean? So the Internet of Things. Just the everyday items connected to share data. See, that's what's happening. Your everyday items, right? Which they had. Well, I did a lesson a little bit ago when they were showing you how the car is going to have a data tag to your to your vehicle. You know, all the way down to the. You know how they have these automated things to your tire, to your the pressure to your tire, and the thing pops in your car, let you know that the air is low. Well, that's all connected to the computer. So that has a digital data that they can trace your car, even from your tires, from your license plate to your tires, to the Bluetooth that you're using within your car, right? And this is the system that you're going into, right? Yeah, robotic, automotive, right? They have in the cars where the cars you have to look straight up in the car, or the car will stop if you're not looking directly, if you're not sitting up. You're right. You're gonna have to do basically you're gonna have to blow. It's gonna look at you. You're gonna have to, you know what I mean? You gotta get a test before you drive your car to make sure that you can't drive impaired or something. Which, when you first think about it, it sounds noble. It sounds like a great idea. Like, oh yeah, there's a lot of drunk drivers. People lose their lives every year. But really, the thing is going to have cameras throughout the whole entire car, from the outside of the car, because that's what they're showing you to these Teslas. There's cameras on the outside of the car to inside of the car, clocking you on everything that you do, right? So this is just a prison, Advanced machines that do physical tasks, right? See, and then well, I know you've seen iRobot, right? The movie, when the robots basically enslave the people and tell them that they're past their curfew. Well, that's going to happen in real life. They're going to have robots telling you're past your curfew. You're a grown ass person, and they're going to tell you have a curfew. Get home. And if you don't comply, you will die. Right? It says biotechnology. Says new tools for health and genics, health and genics. Let's see what it means when they say.
Genetics.
Genetics, right? It says genetics is the specific study of genes, right? So this thing is gonna get into you and know your particular gene. So it's gonna study your gene, heredities, and genetic how do you say this thing? Let's see. Variation in living organisms, right? So you're gonna know your well, that's the thing that they're talking about. They're having these smart bots and these different these different smart bots and things, little small bots that goes through your body, which that's what they were doing, lining you up with when they were doing the jump shot, right? Linking you to basically the Internet of all things.
The Fifth Industrial Revolution, or 5IR, emphasizes human-centric collaboration, sustainability, and resilience, unlike the previous focus on automation. It combines human intelligence with technologies like AI and robots, rather than replacing workers, and prioritizes eco-friendly production and robust supply chains.
Yeah. So basically, that's the mark of the beast, right? Because unless you're part of the fifth industrial revolution, you can't be tied into the system. You can't buy and sell unless you're part of that fifth industrial revolution, where it ties you directly into the Internet of all things. She said, like, not like how the other one was dealing with just automation, digital automation, where everything was digital. Now it wants to tie you into the digital automation, so you're one with it. It's to be one with the system. You can't buy and sell unless you have what? The mark, the charagma, the carax, the grapho, right? Yes, it's just continuing on. Because that's dealing with the one with the deadly wound. Well, I'll just say it right here. It says, an image of the beast that received the deadly wound and did live. So you're dealing with the fourth beast that was spoken of in Daniel, but the second leg of the Roman Empire being it's returned, and now you're in the time of the very end, where the fourth industrial revolution has been applied, and now you're fastly approaching the fifth industrial, which making man fit the automation of the fourth industrial, right? Making man one with the machine. Or to this, it says the image of the beast that received the deadly blow, right? In the other scripture says deadly wound, that was healed. Or this one says by the deadly blow and did live, right? Dealing with the fourth beast that was spoken of in Daniel, but speaking of the second leg of the Roman Empire, being that you're at the end of all, you're at the end of Esau's kingdom, because he's making everything the internet of all things, which goes into the internet of bodies, which is that fourth and fifth industrial revolution, right? And it says it was able to animate the image of the beast, right, which is AI, so that it talked, and then arrange that anyone not worshiping the beast would be killed, and it forced, right? So basically cutting everybody off from being able to work and make money the regular way that you've been able to do. That's why even they were saying they're cutting it off. The conventional way of being able to swipe or just look at a photo card to examine it, that system's done with. So it's all going digital. It's all going to the biometrics, right? Attaching man with the machine with the fourth industrial, the fifth industrial with the fourth industrial, right? Revolution. And it says, and it forced all people, small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark, which is charagma, carax, grapho, to receive a mark on their right hand or on their forehead. Without the mark of the name of the beast or the number of the name, it was impossible to buy or sell anything. And that's the time that you're living in. So call Allah, Yahweh, Basham, Shai. All praises, all honor, and all glory unto Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rachaha Kodash. Double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, right?